Hello, and welcome to the IBS masterclass. I always kind of laugh when I say masterclass because I really want this just to feel like a chat that we're having as if we were out to coffee together and we're just chatting about this, right? So prepare yourself for about 30 minutes to an hour of a deep dive on, I think I titled this IBS Freedom. Like, my intention behind this little chit chat is that if you have IBS, you've been diagnosed with IBS, or you feel like you must have IBS, given how you feel, that one, you realize that, oh, wow, I can fix this. And two, you have clarity on what the heck to focus on so that you can fix this faster and spend less time in the trial and error, what I say, stressing, guessing, and obsessing for months to years. That's really my intention. So what I recommend is, like, I know some people are note takers. I know some people are non-note takers, but if you have this link, you have it forever. Just sit and listen and absorb versus take notes, because that way you can really understand and take it in on a different level. Okay. So that's just my recommendation. You do you, but that's my recommendation. So I'm going to start off by just giving you a little background on me. There's so many people out there online who are telling you the magic formula to fix your life and fix your IBS. And so first, you should just know that, hi, I'm Noelle. And I, first and foremost, struggled with severe digestive issues. If you're here, you probably know the story that my digestive issues got so bad that at one point, my next step, based off of what doctors were telling me, was to get a permanent feeding tube inserted because I could literally not digest foods and I was becoming malnourished. That's a story for a different time, but I share that to let you know that I've I've been there physically, emotionally, I've been there. But I experienced that, right? But then also, after I healed myself, we're going to go into that today. After that, I became obsessed. I became completely obsessed with this idea that we have so much control over how we feel our bodies. And when I healed my digestive issues, I realized that, oh, wait a minute. If I can do this, I can do so many other things in my life. And so that took me down the path of really making this, ended up being my career. So I'm a clinical nutritionist. That means that I have a master's degree in personalized clinical nutrition. And what people think normally is that means I just, like, studied kale at a high degree, but really it was more of a functional, almost like a functional medicine leaning program where I really studied chronic diseases and chronic symptoms and how to holistically help somebody rebalance those naturally. I'm also a certified health coach, IAN, shout out to IAN, love IAN. Um, and right now I'm working on a master's in psych, because as we're going to get into today, and you know what? You don't need a master's in psych to tell you that this stuff is emotional as heck. And digestive issues, weight issues, skin issues, they are just as much physical, they are mental. But anywho, I've had my own practice now for the past 4 years, everything virtual. So that's given me the ability to work with hundreds of men and women. What is it? Yeah, 2024. I guess starting in 2019. Victoria's on the call here. And she was just like, yeah, it's been 4 years. So I worked with hundreds of people, and why that I think is so key to, if you're gonna take anything I say, um, take it in at all, is that something that I realized is that there's a big difference between what you can read and what you can study about what you should eat and what supplements you should take and what actually is working in real life with real life people. And honestly, it's kind of funny because you can go to school forever and read all the things, but then you start working with real people who have IBS or been on laxatives for 10 years, and they will teach you so much faster what really works. So that's a little bit about me. I understand the emotional side, I understand the physical side, and I understand the science side. And I really try to blend them together in a really simple way with the intention of, hey, I'm not here to even tell you that I'm an expert. I want you to realize that you can heal yourself. That when you understand your own body and understand what's going on, you can do what you need to do. That's really my intention, right? So now that we got that out of the way, let's jump right in to this IBS conversation. So, what made me want to do this is at the time of recording this, about 2 weeks ago, I released my first like digital self-paced program, which was really just the the work that I had been doing with clients over the past 4 years, but bundled up in a way that more people can do it without needing to work with me one-on-one. And I call it the Gut Rehab protocol. And that was huge. That was amazing. And it's funny, you kind of learn through doing. When I put that out, there's a section in there on IBS, and it just seemed like the conversations I was having over the past couple of weeks and looking back at past clients, like so many women that I've worked with, they've been diagnosed with IBS, some of them 3 months ago, some of them literally 3 decades ago. And IBS, that label, as much as I don't like labels, that's a label that a lot of my clients identify with, and that a lot of us are getting labeled with. And I'm like, I need to talk specifically about IBS, um, and demystify it, because I know you are like, if you have that label, you're like, hey, please talk to me. So that's why we're here. And IBS stands for irritable bowel syndrome. I don't really share this a lot because it feels like a different lifetime, but I was diagnosed with IBS at 9. It was like 8 or 9. And I will never forget, I was in, I don't know, how old are you in 3rd grade? I don't know. I was in 3rd grade, and I was very overweight as a child, very chunky, um, and already struggling with stuff then. And I remember sitting in class with the worst, like, it just hit me, terrible pain in my stomach. Like, to the point I'm like, no, I need to go home. And it was not the first time this had happened, where I remember the teacher, really asked me questions. Do I really need to go home? Was I faking it? And look, if you have stomach issues, I'm sure, especially if you've had them through childhood, that like having a stomach ache can be seen as an excuse, girl or guy. Man, did I have so many of those moments. But anyways, parents ended up picking me up. I remember landing in the literal emergency room because the pains were that bad. And what did they tell me? They said, when I finally got in there, doctors, like, she's severely impacted. But what that means is I was super constipated. I hadn't gone to the bathroom in days. When you're in 3rd grade, you don't really know what the heck's going on. Haven't gone to the bathroom in days. And they said, you have IBS. 9, I didn't know what that meant, but I will always remember hearing, you have this, you have IBS. Like, oh, I have this. This is a problem that I have. Okay. And they gave me some vague recommendations around like eat less greasy foods. At one point, it was like, maybe you need to work with a dietitian and like remove FODMAPs and all of that. And let me just say, I have the utmost respect. And in fact, I work with a lot of health professionals. I have a lot of friends who are health professionals, whether it's doctors or therapists or nutrition dietitians. We do the best we can. We're always trying to help our clients and our patients. Always. I'm just going to say that. But they were doing the best they could and telling me what they thought was the best. It's like, oh, she has IBS and you should do these things. Long story short, it's like I struggled with stomach issues on and off until things got really bad. I had interjection of a serious eating disorder around like 11 to 13, which really exasperated things. But just so you have a picture of like, I know IBS deeply from a very young age. Okay. But that just gives me an opportunity to say like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, when I thought like, oh, wow, I have something wrong with me. What I didn't know was IBS is just a label that's given when you have a certain set of symptoms where it's like, oh, you have random stomach pains. Oh, you randomly get constipated and we don't know why. Or you randomly have the runs like diarrhea. You get gas pains. You have these stomach issues that we can't figure out. The blanket diagnosis that's given is IBS, irritable bowel. And like, if you really think about this, irritable bowel syndrome. Okay. So my stomach has been throwing a fit. And you tell me that my bowel's irritated? No, like, yes, I think I know that my bowel is irritated. But when you really think about it, that's all that you've been told if you have IBS, that your bowel is irritated. You already know that. Realize when it comes to healing it, we're getting into this now. The first step in freeing yourself from IBS is realizing that as much pain as it's caused you, probably physically and emotionally, all IBS is, it's a label that's been given to describe the symptoms that you're having, but it doesn't say that you have to have the symptoms forever. It doesn't say that, you have a gene for IBS and you'll always deal with it. It doesn't say why you're bloated and constipated. It's just saying, oh, this is what it looks like you have. So when you feel that, when I talk to my clients and we're just fresh, we're just starting, and I'm like, and they come in, really distressed, like, I have IBS, had it for 20 years, I've tried everything. And we just take a moment to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I hear you. IBS though, let's just see it for what it is. You don't have anything. You're experiencing symptoms, bloating, constipation that runs, gas, bloating, whatever. And now that we know you're experiencing those symptoms, our job is to either one, figure out why you're experiencing them. Let's go one step deeper. Because if we know why, then we can potentially fix it. Or let's just start de-irritating your bowel. Okay? So again, this can sound quite simple, and it's because it is. When you start to understand and really see the way this whole system works, especially like the Western medical system, with the utmost respect I have for it, it's like if you break your arm, go to the doctor. If you're having chronic symptoms, though, just getting told, like, let's just say it's acne, for example. Let's say you have acne and you go to the dermatologist, like, that's cystic acne. It's like, oh, I have cystic acne. It's like, well, what now? Like, what do you do now? That's what we want to be asking. So right now, if you're listening to this and you've been struggling with IBS and you want to fix it, realize that your job right now is to no longer associate with having IBS. And now we're gonna switch into, okay, now what do I need to do to resolve the IBS? What do I need to do to make my bowel not irritated? Do you feel that? It's a shift in mentality. And I did a masterclass not too long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago or something, right? I was really focused on this. And maybe wherever this is linked, Victoria, we can put a link to that one. I think that'd be really helpful. But this idea with IBS, we can either manage our IBS. What food should I avoid? Noelle, what supplement should I take to help with my bloating? What supplement should I take? What diet tweaks can I make to just help managing? Or we can go into healing mode. What do I need to do to heal my symptoms at the root so that I don't experience them anymore? That's the team I'm on. Okay. So know that if you're here, which I doubt you are, if you're here because you're looking for like, what's the supplement that's going to help me manage my bloating? What's the diet that's going to help me manage? I don't want you to manage. I don't help my clients manage. I don't manage. I resolved it at the root so I don't have to think about it anymore. Right? So do we want to manage our symptoms forevermore, or do we want to heal them? So I'm not the first person to talk about this. Don't give me the credit. Know that if you were to Google right now, functional medicine, functional nutrition, that's really the route that I recommend you go down, which is functional medicine, functional nutrition, functional healing is really the science of creating health. That's what it is, the science of creating health. Traditional medicine is like the model of diagnosing a disease and managing it, keeping you alive. We want to create health. So I may sound like a broken record and right now, but this is such a pivotal shift. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you've been managing your IBS for 3 months or for 3 decades. The body is so malleable. And when it gets what it needs, when a body gets what it needs to be healthy, it will be healthy. When it gets less of what's been causing the issue, it will also kind of contribute to that whole being healthy thing. So you need to let go. This is what the mindset piece is so big. You don't have anything. You've been experiencing this. Okay. So now we are in healing mode. And let me just, my mind is going in so many places. Let me just look at my notes here. Okay. So springboarding off of that, healing our IBS, what that really just means is like restoring our normal digestive function and the symptoms that we're having, gas, bloating, constipation, all of that, resolving the root of why it's happening. Something that can be a game changer right now, because you may be feeling sick as you watch this, maybe feeling just gross as you watch this, is your body is not against you. I felt so angry and frustrated and like resentful of my body, especially as a woman. It's really easy to compare ourselves to other people and go like, she's eating donuts and drinking coffees and all this, and she's skinny and she never has stomach issues. And then here I am and I can't eat a thing and I feel like crap. You ever felt like that? I get it. But when I kind of learned, when I started going down this natural path, that symptoms like the bloating I was experiencing, the constipation, terrible constipation, those symptoms were signs from my body that something was off. They weren't signs that I was broken or that there was something wrong with me. Your body, our body, men and women, but I'm really speaking to women right now. It's like our body is so wise and like so on our team that when something is off, like let's say your diet, if your diet's off, and I'm not talking about you being off of your, like you being like a bet, like eating junk food. I mean, if you are just the diet you're eating, it's not working for you. Your body will go, girl, no. And how it tells you no is by going, we're going to be really bloated. We're going to be constipated. We're going to have gas and bloating. Why would it do that? It's because in order to live the life that you want to live, in order to create the things you want to create, in order to be who you want to be, you got to feel good in your body. And your body knows that. So it's going to tell you when something is off. When I learned this and really realized this in the beginning of my journey, it helped me so much in going down the healing route and staying resilient because it kind of got me curious, honestly. It was like, oh, my body's trying to tell me something. It was no longer this battle, like, oh, I'm trying to like battle my body into like submission. But it was more of like, oh, wait, I'm trying to understand myself. When you can get into this mindset, the healing mindset underneath that is like, I want to understand myself. I want to know what my body needs. I want to be in tune with myself. Feel how good that feels versus, oh, like, why is my body doing this? This is so frustrating. Yeah, it could be frustrating. Like, I totally get it. But if you want to heal, you can't heal a body you hate. That was said by this amazing doctor. His name's Dr. Will Cole. He's also in the functional space. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, Will, you really got that. You can't heal a body you hate. So how do you get out of that hate? You start to understand that your symptoms are just signs. Okay. All right. So now that we know symptoms are just signs, we also see this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to, beyond just fixing your IBS, to get to know yourself better, to really put the focus back on you. I feel like especially as women, our energy can go in 1,000 different places. And then we're last. And then we wonder why our bodies are not working for us. But a lot of times we haven't even been given permission or been told like, hey, you need to put you first. So this IBS situation is an opportunity for you, a huge opportunity to not only get debloated and fix your constipation and fix all your stomach issues, but to just get in tune with yourself and really understand yourself on a deeper level. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So when it comes to healing IBS, I'm going to speak through the lens of if I was working with a client one-on-one, because that's like the most real way I think to teach this is, let's say you have, you eat pretty well. You eat pretty well. You feel like you take care of yourself, but your gut just has a mind of its freaking own. And you feel like you have you tried different supplements, you tried different diet changes, all those things, but none of it is giving you the results you want. I would say now is a good time. We don't want to keep digging for answers. In the natural space, even the medical space, when you have IBS or any other condition, it's really natural for our brains to try to figure out what's wrong, what's causing it. I found out kind of by accident that we will reveal what is wrong. We will reveal what wasn't working if we just start to cultivate and do the things that that will realign us with healthy digestion and healthy gut. So instead of focusing on what's wrong, what do we need to find out, you can do that for years and still be struggling with symptoms. It's like, let's just go ahead and do what I call rehabbing your gut. Let's get your digestion back on track. Okay. So know this. What creates healthy digestion? That's what this comes down to. What creates healthy digestion? There's three parts. Three parts. One is the digestive process itself. There's a lot of focus, I guess, on food. Food. FODMAPs. What should I avoid? What do I need to tiptoe around? Food's a part of it, but realize your gut digestion is what makes it run smoothly. It's more than that. The first being the digestive process itself. Something that even when I was struggling with digestive issues, I wasn't thinking about. It's not sexy. Like I wasn't thinking about my digestion. It was like I eat, stuff happens, and that's it. So our digestion encompasses like how we break down the foods we're eating, how fast food moves through our digestive system, and how often we are eliminating. A missing piece that I see for a lot of women who have been like eating really well, but they're still struggling with bloating, constipation, all the IBS symptoms, is like their digestion, the digestive process is really weak and it's not working for them. Why would it be weak? There are so many different reasons, but like, for example, if you've gone through a lot of stress, if you're someone who's more type A, if you've gone through any kind of trauma, big T, little t, whatever, but you've had a lot of stress on your system, stress really impacts our digestive system, just like it impacts our hormones. Even if you don't feel super stressed out, our bodies are really wise. And even if the stress happened a few years ago, that can impact your body now. So that's one potential reason, but I see stress being a big thing. If you've struggled with an eating disorder or you've dieted in the past, the like weird eating patterns that come with that can disturb your natural digestion. And like we don't really think about it, but like let's say like fasting and then eating a bunch one day and then not eating a lot, that will all like impact the system. There's all different kinds of reasons, but your digestion is one. The second thing is food itself. So, I mean, this was a game changer for me. And I feel like it's a game changer for every single one of my clients when they hear it the right way. You could eat the healthiest foods, like fruit salad in the morning, black coffee, no sugar in it, a big salad for lunch, chicken breast, and a huge plate of broccoli for dinner, and have terrible IBS. Why? Because this is something that I think the Western side of understanding gut health we've kind of missed, but Eastern really gets it. Is it doesn't matter how healthy a food is. Your gut doesn't care. Can you digest it? I'll give you an example. A salad may sound so healthy. There's so many veggies in there. But veggies and all that fiber, if you just look at a salad and you remember, let's go back to anatomy class, that your digestive system is like this soft pink tube. If you're sensitive and you've had IBS for a while and your stomach's all messed up, Putting a salad in there is rough. It's really rough. I'm yelling, but I'm just getting passionate. It's really rough. So when it comes to your diet, the healthiest diets can make your IBS symptoms worse before you rehab your digestion and it's strong again. So when I'm working with somebody who has IBS in the beginning, it's very typical for me to see, like if they're like the health nut type, that they're eating a lot of veggies, fruit and veggies, nuts, seeds, all that. Snacking on hummus and carrots, we actually, for a couple of weeks, say, hey, we're going to cut down on the veg completely, almost entirely. And you're going to be eating foods that are easier to digest. So instead of having chicken and broccoli, you're going to have chicken and rice. Instead of starting your day with a smoothie that's full of nuts and seeds and green powders and all the things, you're going to do something really simple, like a really simple smoothie that's easy to digest. You feel that? So your diet is one. And then, for some, it's not necessarily that, but it's just eating foods. You're eating foods that are just not aligned for your body. And this is where it gets fun because it would be so easy for me to just go, hey, these are the foods that you should eat for IBS. Eat these. This is what I eat. But because I work with people one-on-one, I know and I've seen everybody so different. So you healing your IBS, it's going to require you to get curious enough about you because you're amazing to go, what foods work for my body? What foods actually work for my body? And yes, that takes you prioritizing yourself. And does it take some time? Yeah, but I see clients unlock what foods work for them and which ones don't in a matter of 2 to 3 months. That's nothing in the lifespan of having IBS. If you're going to unlock that, how much peace comes from that? But so we talked about digestion, we talked about diet, and the third piece that's relevant to IBS is your microbiome. So that's just a fancy name for the gut bugs that live in your colon, and sometimes small intestine, but they shouldn't be there. And this is where I feel like there's the ladies here, or the guys here who've done the low FODMAP diet, and you're like, yeah, I cut out onions or something and it really helped, but like still I get bloated and gassy and a lot of times your microbiome is out of balance. And if that's out of balance, it's kind of like think of a good analogy, but it's like if the gut itself is out of balance, you could put gold in there and you're still gonna get an imbalanced result, right? But we're just so focused on the food, like, oh my God, I put good stuff in. Why is not good stuff coming out? Why do I not feel good? Well, if you have what's called, when it comes to microbiome, dysbiosis, dysbiosis is just a fancy name for imbalance of good and bad bacteria. If your bacteria are all messed up, you could eat anything and feel like crap. You see? So I hope that by learning these 3 pieces of your digestion, that equal good digestion or really bad digestion, the digestive process, foods themselves, and your microbiome, you can not be overwhelmed by it, but go, oh, wait, this makes a lot of sense. Like, this is a system here. And trying a random supplement or trying this diet change, and it's not all working together, you're going to miss something and it's going to feel really frustrating. So, all of that to say, when it comes to resolving the problem, you want to take a holistic approach. I talk about this all the time on Instagram, but I feel like right now I'm giving more context. What does a holistic approach mean? I'm not talking about waving herbs in the air and like holding a crystal up. I think that's sometimes what some people can think of. I know some of you ladies know what I mean by holistic, but by holistic approach, I just mean whole body, whole person. Your gut lives in your body. Your body is you. You interact with the world, everything is affecting you. So it only makes sense to address all the components that would affect you. And by doing that in a really, there's different ways to do that. We can do that or we're just trying random things. That could feel stressful and chaotic. Or we can do it within a system with steps. And that's what I feel like pouring my heart and soul into for the past 4 years of like, man, I see so many people with digestive issues. How do we make this a system so that it's easy to get in control of your body and rebalance, get back to alignment? When we address it as a system and we hit all the necessary points, it's like kind of like connecting the dots of a constellation. It's like, okay, digestion, boom, diet, boom, supplements, boom. And we do that, then we have, it's almost impossible not to heal. Yeah. But okay, I know I've been talking a lot. Just take that in for a second and just think about like, wow, like, what are you learning right now? What feels like different? What feels like an aha? And that's why we're doing this. Like, truly. I want to make some points. One, I mentioned low FODMAP diet a couple of times. When I'm working with a client, I never lead with the low FODMAP diet, but know this, we're going to get specific now with diet, supplement, lifestyle changes. When it comes to going from IBS hell to I don't have IBS. Is a low FODMAP diet legit? Well, now that you know that there's multiple factors contributing, it's not like whether or not it's legit. It's just like, is it the full picture? You know? So yes, if your microbiome's off and your digestion is kind of slow, foods that are higher in FODMAPs will probably trigger you. Yeah, like that's true. But when I work with a client, I don't lead with the low FODMAP system because it can be really stressful. And I feel like I personally didn't feel like it was very practical of thinking like, going out to eat, what food has FODMAPs? Like my brain just doesn't work like that. So instead, what I recommend, especially, I mean, this honestly works whether you're IBS-C or IBS-D, but I'm really thinking IBS-C because that's what I see more often, is you want to think of you right now to not bloated and constipated as a process of rebalancing. So when it comes to diet changes, you want to see the diet changes not like, hey, you're going to eat like this forevermore, but rather using food as a way to recalibrate. So over the course of what I see, a month, 2 months, 3 months, basically simplifying your diet, making it super easy to digest for your body, and then slowly building your diet back up. And through that process from simplifying your diet, not restricting, simplifying, making it easy for your body, you will naturally remove a bunch of stuff that wasn't serving you. So then as you start to bring things back in, the things that do trigger you for real will become really obvious. And some of them may be FODMAPs. Like to this day, I don't do well with raw onions. That's a high FODMAP food. Is it going to wreck my day? No. But do I feel better when I avoid them? Yeah. How did I learn that? It's when I was the beginning of healing my gut, I simplified my diet to exclude those foods. Yeah. So, that was just me making a point with a low FODMAP diet. The way I approach diet and fixing your IBS, healing your IBS, is less about like remove these random foods and make it really simple. Simplification, and then we'll rebuild. In the gut rehab protocol, I give the exact meal plan, and maybe I should call it a meal guide. It's like what would I eat week 1, week 2, week 3, and then slowly rebuild so that you don't have to think about it. Here's one thing to know. When you're trying to heal your gut, you want to take as much stress out of the picture as possible. And one of the most stressful things, it's not even like your job or your kids or any of that. It's like not having a plan and every day feeling like it's a game of roulette. Like, what should I eat? What supplement should I take? When should I eat? Da, da, da. The more that you can create a system for yourself or follow one, the easier it's going to be for you to just like go through the motions and heal. So after all of this, after you learn all this stuff, it's like, make a schedule for yourself. Decide what you're going to eat. Decide when you're going to eat. Take the stressing, guessing out of it. Again, I lay all of this out in the gut rehab protocol. So you can just kind of like, I don't want to say turn off your brain, but just start healing and not guess so much. Yeah. Because that's diet. You want to make sure you're not stressed out by it. And you want to make sure it's simple. And you want to make sure you can digest it well. White rice, easy to digest. Broccoli, not so much. You see? Okay. Then in this rebuilding process, and I know time is just flying by, but I just want to make sure you have all the pieces. So diet's one part of it. Remember, I talked about how digestion itself, how well you can break down your food, how fast things are moving through. Like for example, if your gut is moving very slowly, mine was moving crazy slow because of my eating disorder past. When things move through slowly, bacteria have a chance to ferment things and you can get bloated and gassy. Doesn't matter what you eat then as much, you're still just moving things slowly, so you're like crap. So what do we do about that part? This is where I am an advocate for supplements. Disclaimer, I'm not associated with any like lines of supplements where it's like, here's the gut healing system. No, no, no. When I work with somebody one-on-one, we're being really targeted where I think less is more always, but we just go, okay, let's include these specific supplements. But why supplements can be really helpful is the true meaning of a supplement, we really think about it, it's to support your system when it needs help. And if you have symptoms, your body's saying help. That's what it's saying, help, please. So in rehabbing your gut out of this IBS like thing to health is, let's give your body support. Let's give your digestion support so that you can break down your food better, so that food can move through at a good pace, and just gotta get that system up and running again. So I'm going to list out some steps that, know this. Again, I always say there is no one size fits all. And if there was, there would be a PDF that I would just give you right now. But there are some common themes that I see are helpful for almost everybody. There will be a link under this where to the gut rehab protocol. What I do in that is I give the specific links to the specific supplements, but not just the supplements, but like how to use them, when to use them, in what case scenarios to use them, so that you're not just following another thing blindly, but you're really in your power and you're like, oh, I get it now. I'm going to use this one and I'm going to use it for this long. You feel? But okay. So one, digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes, they are popping off right now because gut health is getting trendy. But if you can't digest your food, which if you have IBS, irritable bowel, it's a good chance you're not digesting things well. Digestive enzymes can be a game changer when taken properly, and you take a high quality one. Think of it as like adding detergent to a laundry machine. Like and your laundry machine is your gut. If your gut is stressed, you're gassy, bloated, constipated, it's kind of telling you, hey, we need some extra support. We need some laundry detergent. That's what a digestive enzyme can help with. So that I see helps a lot in combination with the right diet and lifestyle stuff I'm going to talk about. I'm going to round things out with that. Okay. Another one. Ooh, we'll talk about probiotics. So this is like my favorite thing that I hear because I was there too. It's like, Noelle, I've tried probiotics, it didn't work. So not all probiotics are created equal, and they're not a cure-all. They're really not a cure-all. If you've been lucky enough, you're probably not, if you're listening to this, where you took probiotics and it fixed your whole life, amazing. But really, probiotics are a supplement like anything else. They're a tool that used as a part of the system that I'm talking about, digestion, food, supplement, it's a system. When you bring them in at the right time, when you bring in the right ones for your body, it helps that microbiome situation. Yeah. So one thing, a mistake that I see a lot is like you have constipation or bloating or IBS, and you're like, let me try a probiotic. You bring that in, but let's say that you have dysbiosis going on. It could either make things 10 times worse, we feel more bloated, and you're like, what in the heck? Or it could help relieve things. So in that scenario, taking an antimicrobial, which is like a way to balance out good and bad bacteria, that can be really helpful in the beginning stages of IBS to help clear out your gut and just help rebalance things. So we're talking about enzymes, probiotics, antimicrobials. That's really helpful. Another one is when you're dealing with IBS-C specifically, one of the biggest blocks I see to feeling long-term relief is being constipated. So yes, there are different foods that help with constipation, but when you support your digestion and your system with stuff that helps motility and helps your body relax, like magnesium. Magnesium is like a godsend when you are dealing with constipation. Know that asterisk, I'm not diagnosing, I'm not giving medical advice, right? But magnesium can be huge, and being on the right form of magnesium. But okay, there's just a handful of supplements. But my main point around the supplements is that they can be a game changer for your IBS. But when used as part of a system that's rehabbing your gut back to health, right? So don't put all the pressure on one supplement to fix all your problems. I probably bought, or my parents bought at the time, 20 different supplements that it's going to help bloating, it's going to help this, going to help that. And they're probably great supplements, but I just didn't have the full picture. My diet was off. I didn't know what to eat, all of that stuff. So you can't put all the pressure on one supplement. You want to use supplements as a support. The last piece, like the last major piece of the IBS puzzle, that don't shoot the messenger, okay? Because as I am about to say it, I even get like a little bit of butterflies in my stomach because I remember when I heard this, I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed. But it's the stress piece and it's the mindset piece. And under that also falls food relationship. Becomes IBS. I remember my first like really good practitioner I worked with. I was so bloated and constipated. I was like, tell me what to eat and what supplements to take to get relief. And she was asking me about like my emotions and stress and all of it. And it was very frustrating. But here's what you need to know. There is something called the vagus nerve. And it's like this master nerve that connects our brain, that is like a cord connecting our gut to our brain. Literally like a cord. Think of it as a cord, like an electrical cord. And our brain sends signals down that cord to our gut. And the other way, our gut sends signals to our brain. And a lot of it is like unconscious. Rarely is somebody going, I'm so stressed. Oh no, I have a stomachache. But it's more like subtle everyday tightness and stress that we get so used to that we don't even realize how much is affecting us. But here's what I want to say around that. You don't need to become a meditator. You don't, even though I think meditation is amazing, you don't need to quit, your life to reduce your stress and to basically support your system in healing. You don't. But instead, what you want to start with is just understanding that we're rarely stressed out by the things in our life. It's actually how we perceive the things that create the stress. So, for example, like I could open up my email right now and look at like 20 misread emails. I'm not good with my email and go, oh my gosh, emails, like, and like get really riled up inside. Or I could look at my emails and go like, okay, you see, I could I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but oh, somebody could cut me off in traffic. And that could be an excuse for me to be like, what? LA drivers are just like, oh, and that can set a tone for my day of just irritation and then snacking and then just like all of these misaligned actions because I got irritated, or just go like honestly bless them, like they're probably super stressed. I'm safe, I'm alive, okay, goodbye. Protecting your peace. So my point around IBS and the stress factor is, of course, ideally we would live lives that are aligned with what we need, but don't let stressful life events or a season of life that you're in prevent you from healing. You get to decide how you view things. You get to decide whether you see blessings in disguise or you feel like the world is against you. You get to decide how you prioritize yourself. When I tell you I'm so big on self-care because I experienced, like, my programming growing up was very fight or flight, people pleaser, and like not even having a sense of self. It was just everybody else. And what that resulted in, I didn't even realize, was I didn't even know how many times a day I ate because I was thinking about other people. I didn't even, I didn't, I, every, if I had to think about what I was eating, it was inconvenient because I had other things to do. Wait, what is more important than me taking care of myself? You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to IBS, if you're like, hey, I am try the diet things, I'm seeing a naturopath, I'm doing all the things, but you're somebody who's like, go, 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 go. You never have a moment for yourself. And you're also telling yourself that you don't have time ever. This is something to look at. Be gentle with yourself. Don't criticize yourself, but just realize your body, of course, it's not going to function if you don't prioritize it. Like, you know what I mean? When you really feel into that. Victoria's on the call too, and she's like, well, like, yeah, like, of course it's gonna act up if you're treating it like trash. and treating it like trash sometimes looks really pretty. It's like I go to cycling at 5 a.m. I work hard, I'm meal prepping, but if you're doing all those things to check off boxes and you're not in tune with yourself, that could be just as bad. So rounding all of that out to say, the women that I see, the men and women that I see overcome their IBS, they, in the process of doing that, make themselves a priority. And ironically, when we make ourselves a priority, we tend to realize we have more time than we thought. Life becomes actually easier, but it's a mindset shift. A really tangible thing that comes from this is I see, like, a lot of times we're snacking throughout the day in a way that we don't even need, or we're eating very erratically because we're just so outwardly focused that when we start to prioritize ourselves and we start to eat in a rhythm, even that de-stresses us. So the three big pillars there that I talked about in terms of healing your IBS, it's the digestive process itself, your diet, and then that mind-gut connection. All of this can sound either really fluffy and like an idea, or they can feel like steps when you take time after this to sit with it and go, okay, what needs realignment? What needs adjustment? And again, I have not worked with one single person, whether they've been dealing with IBS for 3 months or 3 years, that when doing all three things, rehabbing their digestion, doing the diet process of simplification, and then reintroducing, de-stressing by, this is the point, it's now coming to me, de-stressing by just simplifying things wherever they can. I have not worked with one person whose symptoms of bloating, constipation, gas, all that have not resolved entirely. If you're here from social media, you're probably here because you see all my screenshots that I share. It's not magic. It's just if you've been suffering with IBS for a long time without relief, it's probably because the approach was incomplete, the approach was too stressful, or the energy that you brought to it wasn't your full self. You were doing it on the side. Oops. You were doing it on the side. I just dropped my heater, 1 second. Um, and so when you have all the pieces of the puzzle, and don't be shy, like it doesn't have to be with me. It could be with anybody else who has a functional lean, who is aware of these different components of IBS. Get support. I'm somebody, when I start something new and it's new for me, like because I have ADHD, I think that's a big part of it. My mind can be like this. It's really helpful when I have somebody who's guiding me, or when I just have some sort of structure in place. So I worked with somebody to heal my gut. Don't be shy in getting support, and don't be shy in continuing to try. Again, it doesn't have to be me. I hear this a lot too, where it's like, oh, I've tried so much. And my answer is like, okay, try again. Like you either try or you don't try. And you only have one life. And I share all of this, yes, because I don't want you to be bloated and uncomfortable. Yes, because I want you to be able to like get off of your prescription laxative, but really in the name of freedom, in the name of you feeling comfortable in your body, in the name of you like living your life, not thinking about food, what you're gonna wear later, because should you skip a meal if you're gonna be bloated, like what should you do? What your travel is gonna look like because of your gut, like just be able to live your life in what I call, I'm gonna wrap this up in a few minutes. Looking at the time, living your life from the place of what I call your innate well-being, like your true self is healthy. Your true self is not dealing with stomach issues. I'm jumping way back to the beginning, but I said, symptoms are signs. I truly believe that IBS, it can be the biggest kind of turning point in your life. When you see it for what it is, it's like, oh wow, my body's just out of alignment. I need to get back in tune with myself. Let's do this. So let me just look over at my notes and see. I want to put you on the spot, Victoria. Victoria's on the call too. Is there anything that you feel like I am missing?
I don't think so. I feel like you hit the nail right on the head.
You, but yeah. So I hope that this was, if anything, really expansive for you to just like be in the energy of somebody, actually two people. Victoria was a client first, actually, where she was struggling with food sensitivities, crazy bloating, all the stuff. And she was eating like healthy. She was a personal trainer, like she was in it, but it still felt like, ugh. Two people that have resolved their gut issues. Last thing I'm gonna say, actually, aside from, hey, there's gonna be links below to the gut rehab protocol. Gut rehab protocol, like I said, this is the super simple, low stress system that I have used over the past 4 years with my one-on-one clients to help them heal their gut, rebalance their body, and put an end to the food body stress in about 90 days. So, of course, everybody's a little bit different, but when you follow the steps, this happens 9 out of 10 times. So that's going to be there. You can start it whenever. At the time of recording this, I'm working on putting together a very specific it list that's just focused on IBS. The gut rehab protocol is perfect for you if um I work with so many people who have multiple things going on. So IBS and problems losing weight and acne and these things, and just like, oh my gosh, I feel like there's so much happening. You're not alone. Like that's the majority of people. So the gut rehab protocol has specifics that will speak to all of those, where you'll go, oh, it's all working together and it's not overwhelming. And here's the system to rebalance. But if you're just focused and dealing with IBS, you're like, give me all the IBS information. I'm creating an it list right now that should be out in the next few days to a week to see how my energy flows. And that will be available soon. But if you want to just get started, got your protocols there. What I wanted to end with is, when you are struggling and looking to heal, you want to protect your mind as much as you can. And you want to be looking for examples of people who have resolved the issue versus like the relatable content that's like, oh, IBS sucks, or this and that and this and that. That stuff gets to your mind. Protect your mind and realize you can heal. If I could heal, if all my clients could, so can you. Choose that. And that alone will get you on the right path. I'm so glad you were here. And if you got anything out of this, if you had an aha moment, don't be shy. Like, let me know on Instagram, share it. And that's it for now. Okay, I'm starving. It's time for me to dinner. Talk soon. Bye.